Hello, thank you so much for staying here on the Joy News channel. And this is our continuous coverage on the conversation surrounding that special assignment, Next to Die. Now, that documentary highlights what pregnant women and newborn babies go through at the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital. And that hospital is supposed to be the second biggest in the country. Unfortunately, about 1,000 babies die there every year, and 100 women lose their lives in the process of childbirth. And earlier on, you saw the extended version of the AM show and the Super Morning Show. That's a special collaboration. They came to us live from the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital, where they've been having this conversation with stakeholders on how to finish that 1,000-bed capacity facility, which started in 1974. You can join the conversation on social media, on Twitter and Facebook, with the hashtag Finish This Now. And as they mentioned, the conversation will continue here on the Joy News channel, and tomorrow morning as well they'll come again to us live from the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital, where we seek to find solutions to this problem. But now let me take you back to that story where two people shared how they lost their babies at the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital. Let's revisit their accounts.
So Thursday, I had a surgery on Wednesday. Thursday evening, the doctor summoned me and said he had something to discuss with me. Normally, when I get pregnant, I get the gestational diabetes. So I thought that the baby had also gotten it. But the doctor said, no, the baby got bent. I said, why? What happened? Because I heard you tell the nurse not to give the baby a bath. I said, well, I don't know. The nurse gave the baby a bath, and now the baby got bent. So I had not seen my baby since Wednesday. So Friday, meanwhile, I had gone through cesarean section. So Friday, I had to make my way to the MBU. So you could imagine, with all the stitches and everything on. So at dawn, I got up and came to the MBU. It was tears all over. I couldn't just open my eyes. I sat, when I got in, I asked the doctor, Dr. Planche, and she told me they had taken the baby to the Benz unit for dressing. So I waited. In about 30 minutes, I saw them pushing an incubator, and they showed me my baby. And the baby had been bandaged from neck to the waist, all arms bandaged, and had Vaseline all around over the head and the ear. So they took the baby in.
And this is how old? The baby at what age?
The very first day. This happened the very first day I gave her. So it was like the second day after birth. Yeah. So I had to breastfeed the baby. I took the baby out and had to breastfeed him. Like I said, the place was just too much. Getting even a chair to sit on to breastfeed, because mothers are there breastfeeding. But because of my condition and because the thing happened in a doctor, in the hands of a doctor who works at Konfanoche, maybe I don't know whether that was the reason they were, I don't know what to say. Because like I was giving some preferential treatment because the thing happened in the hands of a doctor who works here. So I had to breastfeed the baby. I had to stay throughout the day. There was nowhere to rest. I had to sit throughout. Sometimes when I'm tired, I had to just come in front to where the nurses sat to rest. You would have no place to lay your head. I had to be with the baby throughout. And the doctor said the baby had to be breastfed because of its condition. It has to be exclusive. So I waited, and you know, MB, you go there, in every 3 hours, you need to go there and breastfeed your baby. You go there, you use time to go there. But because of the condition, I could go in any time to breastfeed.
Tell us more about the condition. So tell us about where you were given, which space were you? Were you given a ward?
No, I wasn't. A bed? No, I didn't have a ward. I didn't have a bed.
So where were you?
I was coming to sleep at Magazine Clinic. I stayed till 12:30 midnight. Then I'll drive back to Magazine Clinic.
So while you are here, where did you stay?
I sat at where the nurses. I was just sitting there. But they told me to bring a mattress so that I could sleep better. There was no way I could sleep because mothers there already had no places to lay their heads. You couldn't have a shower. You couldn't urinate. So they allowed me to use theirs, the nurses. I used their washroom. You know, anytime you are coming out or you are going in the washroom, just at the corner of the washroom was where they kept dead babies.
They kept what?
Dead babies who were dead. They were wrapped in their court sheet at the corner. When you are entering their bathroom at the corner, that's where they kept dead babies.
You're pointing downwards. I mean, were these babies just on the floor?
They were on a carton box, there was a box there, and they were wrapped in their cord sheets, and that was where the babies were kept, on the floor. Yes, that was where they were kept.
And how would you feel each time you pass through and realize there were dead babies there?
Anytime I'm entering, I needed to stretch my neck to see if my baby was in the incubator before I entered. Anytime I was entering. I stayed there for 11 days, and all the 11 days, there was no way I could stay. I was moving in and out. I stayed till 12 midnight, sometimes 12:30, before I go to magazine clinic. And sometimes before I get there, their places are also locked up. I had to knock. And because of the situation, they designated a ward for me at magazine clinic. So I had one room to myself.
Because that's where the baby got bent?
Yes. Yes.
And you had also had a cesarean?
I had a cesarean. My stitches and everything were on. I had an abscess. So you could just imagine. When I had to eat, I needed to come down because I parked my car downstairs. I ate in my car. Then when I finished, I climbed upstairs just to sit there and wait. All I did was to sit down.
For 11 days?
Yes, for 11 days. I was at the MBU just to see if my baby could pull through. Yeah. It was hectic.
Now we hear about the difficulty with space for even the babies, and that very often they had to share cots. Did you see that?
Yes. Sometimes you see 3, 4 babies in a cot. 3 and 4 babies. There was no way a baby was... My condition, I don't know whether it was because it was peculiar. I had one incubator to myself. My baby was sick, but the incubators were not working because the baby was not sick. The doctor said that they needed to segregate the baby so that it doesn't catch infection. And I had to sanitize my hands even before I could lift my baby up. So yes, there was not a single baby in one cot. The least you could find were 3 babies in a cot. Yes, the least. And
now there's a reason why this is important, because of course, as we learned from last night's documentary, babies are so susceptible to infection. In fact, that's why they're dying in such large numbers. You know, when they're born, they can catch things so easily from each other. Also, they move around a lot. So if you can imagine 3 babies in an incubator, some of them with oxygen breathing apparatus, moving around, before you know it, one baby grabs the oxygen breathing apparatus of another baby and pulls it out, and before someone can spot it, the baby, you know, suffocates and dies. This is what is happening on a daily basis in Komfo Teaching Hospital. We're going to learn more from Mrs. Arthur in a moment, but I want to introduce Mr. Ansah. Now, Mr. Ansah, first of all, good morning and thank you for coming. I think you're very brave, you know, for being able to join us to talk about this, because I can't imagine a worse tragedy. You lost 2 children here. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Kojo, for the meantime, I want to say good morning to your viewers and listeners. Yes, and the opportunity given to share my experience that I've had here at the Modern Baby Unit of Komfo Teaching Hospital. To start with, it was on 16th of February 2013 that she delivered of a baby girl.
That's your wife?
Yes, she delivered of a baby girl. And the weight of the baby was 4.5. So there was the need for, it was cesarean section. Yeah, so I was told to go out and then come back for about 3 hours time. So 3 hours time, see, MBU men are allowed to come to MBU to take care of their babies. So the first day that I went, I couldn't see my baby very well, to the extent that the court that was supposed to take about 3 babies, I had about 8 of them. So
including yours?
Yes, including my baby. So I started murmuring. So, is that a situation here? So I went out that particular period while the baby was at the court. So I went to where my wife was, and I asked whether he has gone to see the baby. He said, no, he has not because of the cesarean section. Right. The next day, only to be told that my baby has had an infection. So I did not understand that why an infection. So oh, that is the situation here. So master, there is nothing that we can do unless we treat the infection. I said, well, I have no option than to accept.
So at this point, the baby was still sharing the court with 7 other babies?
Yes, yes. And besides, they suspected that the baby may be diabetic because of the weight. That's what I was told. Yeah. So the baby may be diabetic. So the next day that I was told that the baby has had an infection. So there was the need for them to treat. So I was there every morning, every evening. So the 5th day, I asked the condition of the baby, and the doctor told me that there will be a possible discharge of the baby. So
the baby was getting better.
It's getting better. So that very day that we were discharged, we came home. That midnight, I traveled, only to be told the next day that, gentleman, your baby is no more. So I couldn't believe it. So is that the case?
The baby died at home?
Yes, he died at home. So a gentleman in the house,
the
very day that we were discharged. So a gentleman took my baby to the hospital because of the situation that they saw at that particular midnight, because I was not available. If I were there, I would have taken my baby to the place. So the gentleman assisted. Fine. So the baby died. So I had no option. God being so good, for record's sake, on 4th April 2014 was the second one. So I decided not to come to MBU again because of what I saw. I took the second one to Central Hospital. So that particular midnight as well, the first one was in the afternoon, but the second one, she was in labor at midnight. So when we went there, they told us that no, the tummy is too much, and for that matter, they can't. So we have to go back to Konfanochi Hospital.
How did you feel when they said that to you?
So to be frank, I was in a dilemma at that particular period. Should I go, or I should get to any other private hospital? Because what I saw at the mother and baby unit was very, very worrisome. So I took the baby to Konfanochi again, and it was a normal delivery, this time around, not a cesarean section. So they took the baby back to MBU again, so I told myself again, and the weight was 4.5 again. As I said earlier, they always do suspect that 4.5, the baby may be diabetic. Yeah. So the same problem. The baby was there. That was the first time that I saw bed bags, where the baby's cots, that I saw the bed bags. So I said, wow. So do you have bed bags here? That it means that we are not safe in this hospital.
And this time around, was your baby in a cot alone, or
no,
still sharing?
No, they're still sharing.
How many babies in a cot this time?
This time around, it was 6. And it's a cot which is supposed to take 3 babies. And you see, each baby carries its own bacteria, and it's easy for a baby to affect the rest of the babies. So the first day, the second day, the third day, I was told again that your baby has had an infection. So why is there always an infection? So initially I thought it was negligence on the part of the staff there. But later I realized that no, the place is very choked. That was never the case. What I thought was the reverse. of that. Because, you see, about 100 babies in a room. How can the same nurses treat the babies simultaneously? I mean, that is impossible. So a drug was prescribed for me. I want to buy every day. For drugs, it's normal for you to buy for the baby, for them to use it to treat the baby. And I think a week or so, I was discharged again. So when we came home, there was the need for us to come to review. A date was given. So that very day, the day before the review, I realized that the temperature of the baby was very high. So the next day we took the baby to the hospital and we were admitted again. For the second one I was there, I watched my baby die.
Well, really sad narratives there, but tears fell down his cheeks as he continued to recount what led to the death of his two babies.
Besides, the mother, because of the stress, the experience that the mother has had there at the MBU, she also had an infection as well. I think that was the third day. So when I came the following day in the morning, I couldn't see her very well. She looked pale. I mean, the demeanor was not the best. So she was admitted. So you can see the mother is being admitted, the baby as well being admitted. So they wrote a medicine for me to buy for the baby and at the same time the wife. So I came down to buy the medicine. To be frank, Kojo,
and we sincerely apologize. You're having to relive this rather sad experience. This is third time referral to Komfo Anokye, and the experience is almost the same. The narration is the same. I don't know how you feel, Mrs. Arthur, when you hear, Mr. Ansah share this experience that he's had to relive. This is the third time.
Okay.
Sorry. I
Yes,
apologize.
yes. I will. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I hear.
How does it make you feel?
All right.
I'm already in tears because I know what is answer. I felt it. Though my baby, I did not.
I'm sure by now you should be convinced to join this conversation on social media or any way you can with the hashtag Finish This Now. And this is a call on government and other stakeholders to finish that 1,000-bed capacity facility for mothers and children that was started in 1974. Hopefully, when this facility is completed, the needless deaths will end. Well, away from that rather sad story, Parliament's Appointment Committee has begun vetting of President Akufo-Addo's deputy regional ministers and Deputy Northern Regional Minister Designate Solomon Boa, Deputy Greater Accra Regional Minister Designate Elizabeth Saki, Deputy Western Regional Minister Designate Eugenia Gifty Kusi, and Deputy Ashanti Regional Minister Designate Elizabeth Jamang will appear before the Joe Sayusu-led committee. And now Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu says their vetting will not be as vigorous as that of the substantive ministers. We go now live to Parliament for the vetting.
If you could explain to me also the arrangements as far as your educational background is concerned. I have executive, okay, if you could explain to the committee. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. If you could, the educational background, Executive Master in Business Administration, September 2010, June 2012. So one would have expected that the years will be the most recent certificate will be what you will start with. But you also have on the CV Institute of Paralegal Training, and that was September 2014 to April 2015. Should that be amended, or if you have any reason why you chose to arrange it in this manner?
Mr. Chairman, we can choose to amend it. It's okay. Thank you.
And finally, on your name also, Solomon Namlet Boa. I know you belong to a very proud tradition, and I don't like tribe because of derogatory historical reasons. But Solomon Boa seemed to be an English, name, Solomon Boa. And can you explain to us, perhaps at the committee, how you came by Solomon Boa, which is typically English?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I was to sit for my ordinary level exams, the Boa was supposed to be spelled B-O-A-L. B-O-A-L. But when we got our index numbers and it was spelled B-O-A-R, I went to complain to the headmaster, then the late Mr. Belko, and he told me that, well, I could just leave it like that and later I can go and swear an affidavit. In fact, the Boa.
Well, so those live visuals from Parliament where the Parliament's Appointments Committee is vetting the Deputy Regional Minister nominees of President Akufo-Addo. And just before the committee is Deputy Northern Regional Minister Designate Solomon Boa, just explaining why his name is Boa, which according to one of the members, Alassane Suhuyini, actually, he says the name sounds English. And so the Minister Designate was just explaining what caused the change in name, but also to appear before the committee today, Minister Designate Elizabeth Saki, and she's Accra Regional Minister Designate. And we also have Western Regional Minister Designate Eugenia Gifty-Kusi and Deputy Ashanti Regional Minister Designate Elizabeth Ajaman. They will all appear today before Parliament's Appointment Committee chaired by Joe Osei Wusu. Now we'll go back to Parliament for the vetting proceedings.
We said, no, we want to put the grain in the silo so that when we are hungry, we'll go there for it. So it has resonated well with the people of my constituency.
But, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, but why haven't you sworn an affidavit since to change it to the correct spelling?
Well, it has not given me any challenges at all in life. I have explained it to the family. I don't know whether to say fortunately or unfortunately. I'm the first generation scholar in my family. My elder brothers and sisters did not get the privilege of going to school. So I'm the first person to be educated in my family. So I didn't struggle to explain it to them. I just left it that way. But it doesn't actually mean it's an English name. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, yes, on the CV, just be reminded that now that the silo is filled, you should be ready to share everything in it.
Thank you very much. Well noted, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the same general comment as Honorable Suhuyini had. If you look at, he's raised the issue of chronology of things on the first page. The same thing I noticed, second page, when you go to leadership positions held, I think that you should start with the most recent and go backwards. And the same with employment history. Somebody should just start from the bottom and then go up to the most recent job. So I had just that general comment.
Well noted, Mr. Chairman.
Very well. We'll start the questions, but the minority leader has to go back to the chambers. I'll start with him.
Chairman, thank you. Again, for improvement on the CV, whether we have the nominees' permission, you know that select committees, you are meticulous January 2013 to see January 2017. When it comes to the 2017 January, you don't want to start with the 7th January date. Are you minded and permitting us to add that in order to have a distinction between your two tenor or tema as member of parliament?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We should correct it appropriately.
And Chairman, that leads me to my first question. What's your experience at the Public Accounts Committee? What would you want for the people of Ghana to know that this can be done better to safeguard the public purse and to improve openness and transparency in the management of public funds?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The number of years I've had the opportunity to serve as a member of the Public Accounts Committee, one of the things I have noticed is the issue of procurement. The issue of procurement has been a very thorny issue. We've noticed that if we're able to improve on how we carry out our procurement in the public sector, it will really go a long way to save the public purse a lot, and we will have enough money to be able to develop this country. There were instances where it was just almost very difficult for you to understand how somebody will move to the Public Procurement Authority, get permission today, and the next morning or two, they are procuring items. We realized that it was too short a period, and we raised a lot of issues. Yes, it is part of our constitution, but we think that we should use it in such a way that it will inure to the benefit of the generality of the Ghanaian public. This was one of the things that I noticed. And the other issue that I also noticed as a member of the Public Accounts Committee is the issue of retirements. The period that officers are supposed to retire their impress. Instances where somebody can hold some funds for almost 3-4 years, and when they hear that they are appearing before the Public Accounts Committee, they are able to at least retire that before they appear before us. So we thought that that was quite unfortunate, and that should not be allowed at all in our public discourse. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So you are talking about retirement of impress.
But I'm talking about retirement of impress, Mr. Chairman.
And what specifically is wrong with public procurement? What about it will you want to see an improvement on?
I want to see a situation where we can, as it were, try to reduce, for want of a better expression, I think that there has been serious abuse in a way. That was our take as far as the public procurement was concerned. There was some sort of abuse in a way, and we think that that should not continue.
Chairman, who is your regional minister?
Mr. Chairman, my regional minister is Honorable Salfo Said, who is seated on my left, a very affable young man. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Are you aware that there is currently a major water crisis in northern region, in particular Tamale? What will you do to assist the minister to alleviate the suffering of the many people about the continuing acute shortage of water in the region?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, a week ago, I had the privilege of being part of a presentation that was made to the Honorable Minister when I visited him in Tamale by the Ghana Water Company Limited and that of CWSA. And the early warning signals are there, and that if we don't respond within the next 3 or 4 years, Tamale will actually be in serious crisis. Fortunately for some of us, I've discussed it with my minister. Half of my working life has been in the water and sanitation industry. This is something that I revere so much, and I would really want to contribute my quota to ensuring that we partner the NGO world especially and the private sector, whilst the government works out to also contribute its quota. Because according to the Ghana Water Company Limited, as we sit today, we need not less than 189 million euros to be able to have a new plant around the Yape so that they can transport water to that from Yape down to Datuyili and entering Tamale, that the whole of that enclave. If we are able to get a new water plant around Yape, it will go a long way to really reduce the water crisis in the area. Apart from this, I intend to support the minister in his drive to ensure that we arrest this situation by ensuring that most of the boreholes that we have, especially the high-yielding ones, in the peri-urban communities, especially around Tamale, we have to come in and let our mothers, especially as well the old ladies, understand that it is time for us to serve them with dignity. I think that we have to do what we call point source mechanization in most of the communities where you can, if you don't have enough resources, you can just mechanize the borehole at a particular point. Then our mothers, whoever comes out to fetch the water, instead of struggling to pump for a number of seconds or minutes, you just open it and then the water flows. When that is done, I'm sure it will go a long way to help us really reduce the water crisis in the area. I know that the water table, especially around the Tamale peri-urban, is a bit problematic, but we will do our best to ensure that we move to the next level.
Enough member, if you make your answers short, it will be very helpful to us.
Okay. Chairman, in listening to the nominee, I heard Yape, and since you schooled in Tamasco, what happens to the Dalong water facility which was further developed? What will you do to the Dalong water source?
No, that is not to say that the Dalong water source will not, the Tamale is growing at a very supersonic rate, about the third highest city now in the whole of West Africa. So we are working hard to ensure that it will be very prudent for us to get another plant to beef up the supply situation coming from Dalong.
Honorable Ayaga. Thank you very much. Honorable Solomon, congratulations.
Thank you.
3 simple questions. One is, we are seeing the emergence of development authorities, which basically are emerging almost for every region. And yet we have regional coordinating councils also, which are to oversee development within the regions. Do you think that in the light of the existence of regional coordinating councils and district assemblies, we should be having development authorities also?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think from my own point of view, it is not out of place to really have development authorities to at least lead the drive of our development in this development effort in this country. Because if you look at the vision of the president and what he intends to do to be able to at least improve on the lot of these people, when we are able to have these development authorities, they will work effectively with the coordinating council that you are talking of, so that we can move the development effort to the next level, because it's a new thinking. But that is not to say that it's different from what at least the coordinating councils have been doing. They will now complement each other's effort and move the country to the next level. So I really want to go for it.
I hope to see one development authority really work successfully. Now, I am personally very interested in cotton production. Northern region has a lot of potential, and you can actually use it for poverty alleviation and develop it as a cash crop for the Northern region, especially your part of the Northern region. What will you do to develop cotton in the Northern region?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an important area for all of us, especially those of us from the north. We know how, some of us, we know how it has helped us in the past, and it will continue to help us because it's an economic activity, one of the most important economic activities that we have. So I intend to really partner with my minister so that we can see how the cotton industry will project it to the next level, because it will go a long way to bring a lot of employment and income to all of to the various households that we have up north.
Lastly, you have a master of alternative dispute resolution. The bane of the North has been disputes. How do you think that this skill will facilitate your ability to make sure that for the next 4 years we see a peaceful northern region?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is really one of the areas that is of concern to all of us as a people up north. And I'm very sure that myself and my affable minister were not going to reinvent the wheel, but we will do our best to see how we can play a very facilitating role so that our people can understand that a time has come for us to forget of the issue of peacekeeping and to peacemaking. When we understand that we have to make peace, that is what will bring about development. Working out to see how they can own the process and then move together. That is what is key. Once they are able to own the process of peacemaking, it becomes easy for all of them to accept it at the end of the day. And that is the best way to go. ADR is very important to be able to arrest the challenges that we have up north. And I really want to go out for that one instead of the other way around. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more from the majority? Majority said, anybody wants to ask a question? I've had two minority on the roll. Anybody? Yes, Honorable Kabo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Solomon Namlit Bua, on your nomination as Deputy Northern Regional Minister. I have been looking through your CV, and like you admitted, you've had a very impressive career with NGOs. Majority of the NGOs in this country are headquartered in the 3 northern regions. I know the capacity of your minister, who has also been a product of the University for Development Studies, and yourself. So I want to know, how are you going to leverage all the donor funding coming into the northern region so that the development authorities that the president is, the Northern Development Authority for that matter, can benefit from the goodwill amongst the NGOs towards the development of the North?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, already by the grace of God, as I speak to this issue this morning, I can assure you that we are already on the move with regards to leveraging the NGO world to be part of our development drive in the North. They've always done it, but we will move to the next level. I started it in 2013, and I can assure you that we are continuing. The NGO world, my constituency, for example, I was able to leverage it, and they gave me 101 boreholes between 2013 and 2015. By the grace of God, through that same effort, we were able to do same for Bimbila constituency, that is the Defense Minister's constituency. We managed to get over 60 boreholes for him. We did same for Pandai, we did same for Walawali, we did same for Yaraba, and the effort continues. We have had 1 or 2 meetings with my colleagues, and we want to rope everybody up north, all members of parliament, to be part of this effort. I'm sure that between now and 2018 or 19, if we really put our heads together, they are ready to support us, we can at least make sure that by the close of 2019, every constituency through the NGO world will be able to get 50 boreholes to support the water delivery effort.
My last question. Honorable Nom.
So those are live visuals coming to you from Parliament, where Parliament's Appointments Committee is vetting deputy regional ministers nominated by President Akufo-Addo. Currently before the committee is Deputy Northern Regional Minister Designate Solomon Boa answering questions there, and he's already answered 2 questions from the minority side, questions that bother on how he's going to help facilitate help alleviate the water crisis in the northern region. And he mentions that he's worked in that sector for some time, and so he believes that he's up to the task. And also, just before we came back to studio, he was answering a question from Mr. Cabo, on how he intends to use his work also with non-governmental organizations as a facilitating tool to help in the development of the northern region. And that's the question he was answering right before we came into studio. Let me just let you know that some other deputy ministers designate will appear before the committee today, and would have the Deputy Greater Accra Regional Minister Designate Elizabeth Saki appearing, Deputy Western Regional Minister Designate Eugenia Gifty Kusi appearing, and Deputy Ashanti Regional Minister Designate Elizabeth Acheman also appearing before the committee. So we can go back to Parliament for the continuation of that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And may I also add my voice to those of my colleagues to congratulate you for your nomination. Looking at your CV, I can see that you have a lot to offer, especially in terms of leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Our youth, yes. At the verge of sounding like an examiner, I'd like you to tell us what the themes for this year's International Women's Day, both international and the local, are.
How wiki can you? They've taken it for a mouth. That's one of the key issues. Very important year for all of us. Be bold, to be seen to be contributing to the development of the future of the youth, the women especially. You know, you are our mothers, and we revere you so much. And we know the contribution that you are making to the development of the world as a whole. Yes. So, well, no comment on that. So, this is the little that I can say about the International Women's Day. Be bold. If there are other things that I've forgotten, I'm sure I don't want to misquote something and go out here and I'll be held for perjury.
Okay, you made a good attempt. Stemming from that, what should women expect in your 4-year in office? At least 1 or 2 things. What specifically would you do to empower women during the 4 years of your administration?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is this saying that poverty has a feminine face. What it means is that in most instances, when there is a problem, it is the women that suffer most. There are those who are with our children. They handle them on a day-to-day basis. One of the things that I really intend to partner my minister to do is to ensure that we really empower the women in terms of credit facilities to women. This 1 million per constituency is something that we will encourage every Tom, Dick, and Harry to ensure that our mothers, especially hard-working mothers, get enough to be able to get involved in credit activities. Because if we are able to create a stable...
Let me warn you, this is for infrastructure. So create money in the municipalities to support the women. The 1 million is for infrastructure development, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, but I still believe that we still have to make a percentage of that amount to support our mothers. And I'm very happy that a lot of people are thinking in that direction. There's economic infrastructure. When you empower our mothers, then you are doing the household a lot of good. And a lot of people are thinking even if it's even 1% of the amount, it will help them a lot.
Let me suggest to you that if you want to empower the women, when they are going to build a drain, give them the contract to supply sand. That one, it is easy for them to make money. Give them the contract to supply stones. The things that they can make money, but don't give that money for training activities. You starve your community of infrastructure development, please.
Okay, I just want to thank you for those answers, which indicate to me that you have very good plans for women. And so our women are expecting that something good will come to them at the end of the 4-year tenure when changes occur again. Thank you very much.
Barbara, yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and congratulations, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Yes, I want to know, you are the deputy. If this House approves, you become the deputy minister for the region. I want to find out, you're supposed to work closely with the minister. How are you going to ensure that cordiality to avoid conflict? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Interestingly, one of the best friends I have in Northern Ghana is the Honorable Minister. So the coincidence is a very perfect one. And I can assure you that people have already started referring to us as twins. So I want to assure you that I will give him the maximum support. I'll give him the maximum respect because he deserves it, because he's carrying himself very well. He doesn't underrate people. And that is what I can say for now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. My second question is on discipline. Looking at your CV, you were a disciplinary committee member of the New Patriotic Party. So I believe that you believe in discipline. If you become the deputy, what plans you have in place to ensure discipline? Thank you.
My vision will not be different from the vision of His Excellency the President. One of the issues that I want to see it happening, as it has started everywhere, is punctuality to work.
Give the last one to Honorable Suhini before. There's only minority people who want to ask questions. It's enough. Okay, you are from Volta region. I'm giving it to the Northern region. Then we close.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for your magnanimity. Honorable Solomon, first of all, you are one who is very passionate about the need for us to have peace in the northern region, and for that matter, the country. One time in an interview, you said, and I quote, "We politicians have to stop deceiving the people and work hard to ensure their lives are improved." And this was in relation to a suggestion that you are of the view that some politicians are behind some of these conflicts and disturbances that we record. Now, my question is, were you in Tamale when some irate youth attacked the SADA office? And were you present? What did you do about it? And how will you ensure that things of that nature do not occur under your watch as Deputy Regional Minister?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is something that is very key for all of us, especially the future of Ghana is in the hands of the youth. So if at a point in time you see that the youth are going untoward, it is very prudent that we arrest the situation so that all of us can move the region and Ghana to the next level. I was in Tamale a week ago. I went to SADA office to learn at first hand how far they have gone. I was in the office of one of the technical officers, and before I came out, I'd heard some unusual noise. But the scene, that was after the fact that I asked them, they said some people came around asking for a particular individual. I said, who were those? And they said, oh, sir, the people have left already. So I went immediately to inform the Honorable Minister that this was what I gathered at SADA office, but everything is under control. And just that very day, he was able to go around and make sure that the facts on the ground with regards to how we can sanitize the environment for all of us to, at least, especially for investors, is very, very key. So he's been able to arrest the situation, and I can assure you that as we sit today, Tamale is very peaceful. We want to continue to see Tamale very peaceful so that together we can contribute our quota to the development of the region. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Right. I'm happy to hear that you are doing something about it, and I hope that you will continue to ensure that if you will not use the youth, others will not also be using them on your blind side to create the chaos that we seem to have at the moment. Again, on peace, I recall one time how unhappy you were when there were reports of misconduct of some security officers as they took advantage of the insecurity in the area to, in some cases, manhandle, the citizens there. As part of your plans to ensure we have peace, you are on record to have suggested the need for us to set up a peace fund, and you even thought of starting it in your constituency. Can you educate the committee on what this peace fund can do, or how it can help solve anything as far as the need for peace in the region is concerned?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Basically, this was about 3 years ago. I had the opportunity to meet a cross-section of the chiefs in my constituency. After visiting them, the Pentecost Church organized a dinner for chiefs, and normally they use that opportunity to really sensitize them on the need to ensure that the place is very stable for everybody to go about doing his or her work. So I assured them that it was very important for us to set up a fund, because normally the chiefs will want a situation where they can gather all their subjects and sensitize them on the need to maintain peace at all times. But they are always constrained in terms of finance. And it was on this basis that I thought it prudent that we have to think of setting up a peace fund to be able to support the religious and traditional rulers anytime at all they want to embark on such sensitization.
All right. So will you be proposing that for the region, and how do you think it can help solve anything? And maybe just a footnote. I mean, the information I have on the SADA issue is that things are not really that calm yet, and you may still have to put an eye on it, because we understand that an officer was injured who doesn't even work with SADA. I think it's Unique Insurance or something, was injured in the process, and things are not that calm yet. That's just a footnote, and I hope that you will still keep your ears on the ground together with your minister to monitor the situation so that we have peace. But how can a peace fund help improve upon the insecurity situation in some parts of the northern region?
I looked at the peace fund for want of a better expression, at the micro level, my constituency level. Now, you are talking of the region. I think that it will be very important for me to get time and convince my minister why such a fund will be very useful. But at my micro level, I really want to pursue it because I know how far the chiefs have worked hard. The religious leaders have worked hard in sensitizing the people. And the number of application letters I've been getting from them soliciting support from me to be able to embark on such a drive. So that is why I see things that is very relevant in our today's world. With regard to the region, I'll discuss that in detail with my minister. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I don't know, could you introduce one of us? I'll give you one opportunity. Very well. Leadership then.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, after the announcement of your nomination, you had an exclusive interview with mynewsghana.com. And in the interview, you identify 3 main challenges confronting the people of the northern region. You mentioned illiteracy as one of them. First and foremost, do you have an idea as to the illiteracy rate?
The illiteracy rate in the north is around 62.5, 62% thereabout. The illiteracy rate up north. Yeah.
And how do you propose to deal with the situation?
We will continue to work hard to at least improve on the educational standards in the area. It's something that is very key. I am a teacher too as well, and I know what it means to be educated. So that's one of the things that we have to do. The other issue has to do with access to, especially during the rainy season. In the rainy season, you go to most communities and the children are not able to go to school, not because they don't want, but just simple footbridges for them to be able to walk across and go to the other community where they will school. So these are little developmental efforts that we can do to at least reduce the illiteracy rate in the area. It's something that I agree with you, Mr. Chairman. The $1 million per constituency will do a lot of good for the people in that drive. So this is one of the things that we really also have to look at.
So the major cause is access. Is that not it?
When I talk of access, it's not just about that one alone. It's one of the major causes. And when I talk of access, I'm not talking of access in terms of the non-availability of educational infrastructure, but their inability to be able to get to those places during a particular period. Fancy a situation, Mr. Chairman, where during the rainy season, from July and August, 2 good months, people are not able to go to school. Another year the same, another year the same. You multiply the number of months by the number of years that a child is going to stay in school. You can be sure that at the end of the day, when the child sits for the BEC exams, certainly it will not be something that is pleasant to him or her, because they are going to write the same exams with those in FANSPIM, those in the Achimotes and all of the preparatory schools. So it's something that is very key.
You also spoke about diseases. You spoke about 3 things, 3 challenges: poverty, illiteracy, and disease.
Yes, malaria. You know, malaria is another very key. Malaria is something that is unpleasant, especially prevalent among the youthful class. When somebody is attacked by malaria, you can be sure that you will not be able to go to school. So it's something that I noted.
Honorable, okay. I only have an advice for you. Northern region's major potential is agric, and agric will lead to industrialization. So work with your minister to make sure that agric thrives well. the dams, help to build the dams so that there will be farming all year round, and then the rest will follow. Congratulations, you hear from us. Before you are discharged, we'll acknowledge the dignitaries that have come.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, accompanying the nominee, the Northern Regional Minister, Honorable Salifu Said, the Northern Regional Chairman of the MPP, Mr. Bugrin Abu, and his executives are here. There are a number of constituency executives that have also come to support him. There are a number of chiefs. Kampakoyana's representatives are here. Boli Nayili's representatives are here. Yabonrue's representatives, President of the Northern Regional House of Chiefs, are here. Nayiri's representatives, chiefs from the Bimoba traditional area are also here. Then we have representatives from Zamigu, representatives from Ambaria, representatives from Shekri Bayan, and finally we have Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Ibrahim Mohammed. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, let me crave your indulgence to also acknowledge the presence of some past former members of parliament who are also here.
You should have identified us to acknowledge them. But all former members who are here,
that's right.
You are acknowledged. We thank you for coming.
Mr. Chairman, I also have my better half behind me.
Ah, where is she? Hey, madam, yeah, let's see you. Okay,
thank you.
That's fine.
Yes, thank you.
And all members from Northern Region who came to support your colleague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Coming to support him. You're discharged. You hear from us.
Mr. Chairman, I'm most grateful.
From Parliament, the vetting of Deputy Northern Regional Minister Designate Solomon Boy, and it just ended a couple of minutes ago, and he's been responding to issues surrounding development in the Northern region and how he would play a part in it if approved by the House. Interestingly, some of the questions that came to him were follow-ups from previous interviews he has granted some media houses in times past, and the last question he actually answered was on the fact that he had mentioned somewhere in an interview that illiteracy, poverty and disease are the three main problems of the Northern region, and he responded given reasons why he has stated these three. And and also answering the question about what his plans for women in the Northern region are. He mentioned credit facilities to women, and he suggested that the $1 million that will be given to constituencies be used in supporting these women. But Chairman of the committee, Joe Sewusu, was quick to interject, stating that that money was allocated specifically for infrastructure. And what he suggested to him, though, was to focus on agriculture, and that could lead to industrialization in that part of the country. So, that's how it ended with Solomon Boa, who is a Deputy Northern Regional Minister Designate. Also, let me just run you quickly by other persons expected to appear before the committee today. We have Deputy Greater Accra Regional Minister Designate Elizabeth Saki, and Deputy Western Regional Minister Designate Eugenia Giftikusi, and Deputy Ashanti Regional Minister Designate Elizabeth Ajiman. These people will appear before the committee today. We'll bring you those vetting processes when they begin. But now it's time to get interactive with you, and Miss G is standing by.